Hello, everyone. Check to see what we've got going here. Making sure we're going live. Sometimes we just have technical difficulties, so I stream live to both LinkedIn and to YouTube. And I just want to make sure we're live. I'll be taking any questions if you've got them. Okay. Looks like we are live. All right. A lot of question around coloring in Freeform, and Freeform does an amazing job with coloring in Freeform. And I know there's other coloring softwares out there. I just love that you never have to move in between softwares. So literally you can clean up your mesh in Freeform. You can then modify it and then export it with color. So there's no multiple programs. It's just a time saver all around. And yeah, you might have to go back a few times, but once you get into the workflow of Freeform and color for Freeform, it really is a great way to go, and probably one of the most cost-effective ways to go when you look at this long term. So here is what we've got. I'm going to move so you can see my haptic device, and get that out of the way. Guess I should have planned a little better. Sometimes the urge to go live stream just happens there. Move this out of the way. All right, here we go. So actually we'll go here and we'll move my big head out of the way. And now you can see the haptic device as well as we navigate the screen. Okay, we already have a question, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it since we've got time, it looks like. So we said, I'm sorry, I'm going to totally mess up your name. So I'll say Mr. Jane. I wanted to ask about being a mechanical engineer and working with NTOP for a while. Do I need to have a certification to get into a prosthetic designing just as you? So actually, that's a great question. And what I would say with that is no. However, it is a resounding yes that you need to work with a clinician. So if you are doing a prosthesis, hey, Yukon, if you are doing a prosthesis, anything that's going on a patient, you need to be working with a clinician, somebody that knows the body. So that is my suggestion to you, is find a clinician that is wanting to get into the digital side of things. And then if you know NTOP, man, there's so many things that can be done with that. And so you find a clinician that can appreciate that and see if you guys can work together and create something amazing. So that would be my suggestion to you. And if you've got any other questions, just leave them in the comments, but let's get right to what we've done here. So this is a color socket that I just did. And what's interesting about this is, all right. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can let me know, or shoot me a direct message or what have you. So here's what we've got. This is actually a scan of a flexible inner that was pulled as essentially like a test socket, but it's flexible. So we're going to try to put this patient in, and either with some sort of lotion or what have you, see if they can kind of snap and squeeze into the prosthesis. So this is a hybrid manufacturing. So this was poured down with plaster, and then we pulled a flexible ProFlex over top. with the electrodes because it's a myoelectric prosthesis, and you can already see that this is for a psionic hand. If you haven't checked out the psionic hand, I really hope you do. It is pretty slick. So from there, I put some trim lines on. I'll just kind of take you down through. I put some trim lines on of what I want. Now, this is a little bit unique, maybe not exactly the way that most people would do it, but I wanted to make sure that this area was flexible, but I had contact down here. So, what I'm going to do, I know I'm probably going to end up putting some sort of attachment, more than likely driving a Chicago screw through this or a truss nut through that. And if that can't hold enough, then I may actually put a truss nut through the top as well, but I'm not sure. But I know I wanted to have the contact. I wanted to have the electrodes free. I don't know how that will look with the wiring, but you know what? For the digital side of things, I say let's just go for it. And then if we need to close that in, we will. I like having a little bit of flexibility in here. This socket was tight on the patient, and just having some dynamics, I think, is good. So then from there, I created a forearm look. And then let's see what I did from there. Yep. And then I Boolean that together, or I created that and then I shelled it. I had that little ridge, cut it so everything kind of matched up. And then I Boolean those two together. So I had that outside shell and inside shell together. So let's just take a quick peek at that. I'm going to activate that. And I press the D key so we can just take a look through that. So we've got all that, but you can see that we don't have a space for our wrist. So we move on. This was me experimenting with the psionic. This little piece right here. It's a little it's a difficult piece to work with, actually. Just the shapes of it and such, not made for additive manufacturing. Um, but I think we've done something good in here to get it together. So you can see that I've got this thing lofted. I've already made room for the wrist. Now, one thing that's interesting for the wrist is you've got the 5 holes, but there's not really a great purchase for the motion control wrist to go in. So I expanded this a little bit, and then I did another cut. Let's see where that is. I think it's down here. Maybe it's at the very end. Let's see. Piece 10. Nope. Piece 11. Oh, and I expanded it just a little bit for that wrist to go in, and you can see now that, man, if that, let me turn off the colors here. So you can see that I have a little flat area right in there. So that wrist has full contact. So then from there, I brought in a couple images and I added the color. So this is really 2 images. This is a gradient swirl. And if you know anything about the multi-jet fusion and color, if you do a solid color, you're kind of asking for trouble. You will have different variations throughout each print, especially for a bigger prosthesis like this, which is why you want to have some gradient or some different colors in it, because then you will never notice if there are some design or printing issues, so to speak. So I had this on as a background, and then I used Canva. The patient gave me this as what they wanted as a kind of a tattoo on the prosthesis itself. So I took it into Canva and removed the background, made it a transparent background, and then I'm able to project that down. There's a couple little tricks that I use when I separate 2 different images just so they start to flow together. And one of them is to put a drop shadow in. So you drop shadow in and it just helps transition that in. So the other thing that you'll notice is there is no seam, and that picture doesn't go all the way through. So if you've got a good eye, you probably know what I did. And if not, that's why you send stuff to Advanced 3D is to get that look so you don't have um, a seam in the back. Now, not that the seam, I mean, these things are amazing nonetheless. Anytime you see a color print, it really is amazing. But there are some things that I love to do when I'm designing that just help makes people scratch their head. So, like, how did you actually do that? And so that's one of the things that I think is interesting about Freeform is that you're able to create those interesting moments when not only is it a prosthesis, but for those that have a discerning eye, the question then becomes, hey, that's really neat, how did you do that? And those are some of the best compliments that I get is, Brent, that's super cool, I don't know how you did that. So this then the psionic piece here sits down in there. It's not necessarily flush. You can go ahead and put a hole here. I do not. We'll actually drill that once it's in place. It's a small self-tapping screw, so that's not a problem. And so this is what that cutout looks like. So it's enough cutout for the whole profile, and it drops that psionic piece in nice and flush. So you see kind of this jaggedness. The reality is that sometimes the printer will be able to print this jaggedness, but once you actually blast it and then you um, and then smooth it, you will never ever see that edge. So while there is just a basic smooth there, it's it's not that big of a deal. And then the other thing is it will be hidden underneath the psionic piece as well. So that's a little bit. Oh, Ben, you're getting into it, huh? You're trying to guess what we do. I think that secret's going to stay with me and Tyler and the advanced 3D team. But that is a great question, and I encourage you to play with wrapping or projecting or whatever you would like. I'm sorry, Ben, that was not an amazing answer, but that's the answer that I feel like right now. Uh, so, anybody other have any questions? Hey, yeah, you know what? We got to get Saul one of these arms. I think that would go well. And by the way, Ben, we've got your grippers in. They actually came in today, so hoping to ship those out Monday. Um, the shipping place had already come and grabbed the packages for today, so I couldn't get that out. Let's see if we've got any other questions. Nothing else. So let's see here. I would say I'm happy to stay on if somebody wants to drop a question in or wants me to keep going on some other stuff. Just drop a comment in saying yes, keep on going, or no, Brent, we've had enough, and have a good weekend. So I'll wait and take a look at the comments, and then we can just keep on going if you want. So again, advanced 3D, a lot of people wonder what we actually do. And one of the things that we do is we do the prosthetic and orthotic things very, very well. However, we do a bunch of other things. We do some reverse engineering. We are really good at creating something that fits with the body, something dimensioned and um, organic together. So those are the things that we do. And there's a lot of programs that go together to make that happen. Ah, Good question there, Ben. Does the socket have a liner? So this will be a skin fit socket, but it does have a flexible inner liner that is vacuum formed. So traditionally, so this is going to be something with ProFlex with silicone. And if everything works out well, we'll actually scan the inside and the outside of the liner, and we'll 3D print a multi-jet fusion TPU liner. So great question there. So yeah, so advanced 3D, we love helping anybody. We have multi-jet fusion 4210 in house. We also have multi-jet fusion 580 full color. We have an AMT Post Pro in house. We do our own dyeing and post processing. We can not only sandblast, but we can shot peen as well. We're actually bringing in 2 more color machines, so we're really excited about that. And people think that we're crazy about bringing in 2 more color machines. They say, "Well, didn't HP uh, put an end to life on that?" And the answer is yes, they did put an end of life on that. Oh, that's a great idea, Ben. They did put an end of life on that. You're gonna have to tell me about the YouTube Shorts. Can you take your normal YouTube videos and make them short, or do you have to grab something? Huh. That that sounds interesting. Sounds like something I could do for sure. But the reality is that yes, there's an end of year or end of life on it. 5 years from now, one thing to remember is 5 years ago, multi-jet fusion barely existed. So in the next 5 years, I'm really excited about what the future holds, and I am guessing that somebody's going to come along and have some sort of aftermarket support for this machine. It's a very well built machine, all self contained, small. I actually think it's almost going to become kind of like a sought after machine, especially after some time and when people can see what they're doing. There's just no other machine out there on the market that can do this. And the used market has gotten a little bit soft on these. So you can find them for a pretty good deal. A lot of people getting rid of them because they are expensive to run. You know, I can't get into all the pricing with that. I would suggest you reach out to your reseller on that. But nonetheless, they're expensive to run. You have to run them frequently, or the colors end up messing up. Print heads end up messing up, and so uh, i- if you've got one, you've got to run it. If you got to run it, it costs money, and so you've got to have something there. But man, it's the only one that does it. And believe it or not, it is a great machine as far as strength goes. I've never had a color socket, and I'm going to knock on some wood. I've never had one fail, nor a color AFO for that matter, fail. Whereas a lot of the dyed black and vapor polished and those style of AFOs, I've had some failures, and it's just like traditional fabrication. You're going to have some failures specifically around the toe plates, potentially the ankles, that sort of thing. So not too crazy, but that is why we are adding 2 new 580s to the fleet. So yes, that finish looks looks good on his, and I love him. And that's the oh wow factor. And there's not a better way to do prosthetic stuff than apply some of these custom textures, for instance, for Saul's hands. I mean, there's the wow, that design is amazing, and wow, that color looks good. How did you do that? And if you try to tool up to do something like that, you're talking a lot of money. Whereas the 580, you can crank these things out and literally have them shipping the next day. So that's one of the reasons why I love the 580, is that you can do these quick turn things. And the thing to remember is with the 582 is you don't have to do a full build. You can do little short builds. So if there's little pieces that you do, you don't have to run it the full length. You could actually technically get parts out the same day if you play your cards right and get them shipped out. It's pretty amazing that you can do that. So I'm a big fan of the 580. Again, that market has gone soft. And so if you have the opportunity to grab one for not a lot of money, in fact, I've had some friends of mine get them for not a lot of money, and it's been neat. Now, I can say that you're going to spend $1,000 a month just to have it in your building, and um, and then there's going to be your print costs on top of that. So just for maintenance and having it in your building, you're paying $1,000 a month. That just is what it is. And so if that is not of interest to you, then I would suggest just using a contract manufacturer like Advanced 3D. We'd be happy to run it with our other stuff. So Bo, he said, have you tested a metal printer? Yeah, we love metal. We do not do metals in house. We like other people to do metals for us. But the opportunities are endless, and as some of these devices come down in price and the furnaces and such get better and better, and some of these tolerances get tighter and tighter, I think you're going to see a lot of 3D printing creeping into the prosthetic and orthotic market. Now, there's already a lot of 3D printing stuff that's happening in the prosthetic and orthotic market, specifically for upper extremities. So if you look at the Point Designs hands and what Chris Baschek is doing with Point Designs, it really is incredible. Yeah, there you go. Advanced 3D. That's a good idea, Ben. But it really is incredible to see what they're doing. Their whole finger system is 3D printed, and these parts look amazing. You look at what Naked Prosthetics has done, and they do a lot of multi-jet fusion stuff, some 3D printed stuff, and then some very fine machine stuff. I think that's really neat. And I think the other part is there's going to be custom things specifically for athletes that make a lot of sense going to metal. I think that metal affords that opportunity to bring some strength to those much needed areas for a custom one-off that would cost a lot to machine, or perhaps has some geometry that you just can't machine. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. One thing that I will say is, for whatever reason, in the U.S. market, it's the absolute wild west as far as pricing. For instance, I had an upper extremity part that I was quoting. I was quoted by multiple service bureaus upwards of $40,000 for this run of 20 parts. However, when I quoted with, with China, it ended up being like $100 a part. And these are good machines, and they're good at what they're doing. And these they make it up in volume. This is what they do. So it's interesting. Now, I don't send parts to China all the time, but it is an option when they are my parts that I want to do, and also save some money along the way, and get really good quality. But again, it's your mileage may vary. So the HP metal printer, I don't have experience with that. There's not very many of them in the US or in the world right now, but I am very excited to see what they're doing. They're going to be doing the stainless steel, and they've really got it down. And I think that is where the market is going. I'm kind of curious to see where the other binder jetting technology goes, and there's a lot of chemistry, a lot of math that goes in there. You got it, Ben. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what HP does. Oh yeah, Bo, do you have one, or have you seen it, or were you at Forum Next? Tell me about it. I think that's really neat itself. Um, one thing that I can do. see. Hmm. How you feeling, Ben? You want to come on live? I think I can send you a link and you could come on live. If not, I'll plan a little better. But let me know what you think. Yeah, I'd like to have one too. I'd just like to have the $1,000,000. I'd be okay with just $1,000,000, and I think it's probably where I wouldn't buy a machine. I'd I'd take the $1,000,000 and print a few parts with somebody that has the machine. That would be what I do. What do you think, Ben? Should we go? Oh my goodness! Come on. Yeah, I guess it is 11 o'clock. Well, we'll have to plan a little better then. But this has been fun. Let's see. I don't see any other questions coming out. There's still some people kind of hanging out. Man, we got 10 people on still. Come on. Yeah, I guess it is 11 o'clock. Hey, Robbie. Potentially next year, Q1 of Q1 Q2 of 2024. So, which is right around the corner. So I've seen some of your stuff, Robbie, and looking good, man. You're doing a great job with what you're doing. I'm excited for what I see there, and you are very very talented. So keep up the good work. And I look forward to meeting you when I do come. I think that'll be fun. I don't know how big of country Jordan is, but I I can't imagine that we couldn't meet up. That would be fun. Let's see. We got 9 people here. Here, how about this? I'm going to. Oh, there's my East Point one. Okay. I'm going to bring in another file here. File, save. And we'll just see. I mean, people are hanging out, so we'll keep on going. Okay. Okay. I'm going to come back here. I see a couple other questions. Have I worked with Massivit? I think their machines are really cool. I don't think they're made for the prosthetic and orthotic field, but I think they're really cool. I think for big signs, big whatever, I think their technology is really cool. All right. Let me see if I've got this. Okay. So this is an interesting case, and I will go ahead and bring this. Oops, that's East Point. Let me go here. There we go. Haptic device. This is pretty cool. And I'll just quickly run through this. This is a small kiddo, less than 40, 50 pounds. So I don't know what that translates to in kilograms, but small kiddo. We have about a 275 overall height, 250 millimeter knee center. And what they want to do, this long patient can weight bear distally. And what they wanted to do is create something that was a complete exoskeleton. So we got the alignment, everything was good to go. And we decided to bring in a foot on top of that. And so what I did is I brought in a foot that is based off a well known foot and that is made out of acetal or Delrin. And Delrin has very similar properties to the color PA12. And so I think that was really, really neat. So what I've done is created just a Symes prosthesis. I'll show you what we had here. So this is the scan that we took of a poured socket. I put the trim lines on it and then created this socket. And this socket overall weighs 8.5 ounces. Yes, you heard me right, 8.5 ounces. And that is something amazing and something to behold. To think 8.5 ounces. So you are half a pound, which is 1/4 of a kilogram, something that I'm pretty proud of. This toe plate felt amazing. We have printed it. It's actually going to be going on a patient next week. And then what I did is I created this flexible inner. I think it's here. Nope. There it is. It's a small one, small flexible inner, 1.8 millimeters thick, that will allow the patient to either sock up or pull that out. So they only need maybe say 2 or 3 socks, and then as they grow, they can actually pull this piece out and then they can sock up from there. So it's a great option. And you know what's amazing with these little kiddos, especially with a long limb like that, they get this kind of quasi suction, and so they self-suspend. It works out really well. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, this is just something that I'm super thrilled about. And then what I did, let's see, there it is. So what I did, I wanted to make sure that I could print it in color. So this was funny. I was like, okay, well, I hope it fits. So I ended up just bringing in a box, and that's the build volume of the 580, which it looks big, but it's not big. And then so I just made sure, okay, yes, it goes in the box. Okay, I'm good to go. I'm going to send it to print. So that's a little trick of the trade of if you want to see how much it pulls in. That is cool. So the other thing that's interesting, and I actually haven't tried it on this one, so let's see if it'll do it. Let me see. I go to pieces, tools, piece properties, piece density. So they say 1.01. I don't know about that, but we're going to go with that. Piece properties, densities. Okay, so why didn't it? Oh, because it's not active. Piece property. So sometimes we fool around a little bit, and maybe it needs to be in clay. Let's see here. Piece 2. We'll see if we can activate that and get that density there. Piece properties. Let's see mass properties. Active, update. So right now it's working. Okay, so I'm off by a factor of a lot. So let's change this to maybe 0.0010, something like that. Let's update that. There we go. So we updated it. So yeah, Robbie, I'll get to that in just a second. So we've got the volume here, and you can see, so I measured it at roughly 250 grams on a postage scale, and look what this weight says, 240 grams. So this Freeform allows you to see what you've done and how heavy you are on this, and I think that's really neat. So there are a lot of times where I will go in and I'll say, okay, so if I take out this material, I will be at this, and I've got an idea of what I am okay with as far as weight goes. So again, 250 grams. So let's call it 10 grams off. Even if that, I don't even know. My conversion math probably was a little bit off there. And so yeah, so that's cool for weight. I wasn't actually planning on doing that. So there you go. So Robbie, that is I want to I was about to miss your talk. Oh man. Well, hey Dr. Martin. Good to have you on here. So Robbie, one of the things that's interesting is with Freeform, I just love working with clay. I think working at the voxel level makes so much more sense and mathematical sense compared to stretching triangles. I think there's so much more opportunity and more preciseness to go into that. In fact, Freeform is used for a lot of surgical planning, as well as is in the right circumstance certified by the FDA for craniofacial reconstruction. So I think it's an amazing thing. They have some amazing stuff on the roadmap, and so if you're not using it, um, I think the, the real benefit is not necessarily voxels or mesh. It's the time that you save. You can do exactly what you need to do, and um, yeah, that's it there. Uh, so we not only sell Freeform, but we do offer training in Freeform as well. I can say that you probably would pick this thing up, amazing, and having the haptic device like this. It's like having the Sureform right in your hand, so you can actually feel the device under your hand. It's fantastic. So Bo, do you work in Fusion 360? Absolutely. I love Fusion 360. Fusion 360 is a great program. I use all of that for dimensioning. In fact, I actually use another program for some reverse engineering called Quick Surface. I highly recommend Quick Surface as well. But as you can see down here, I have Fusion 360 and Quick Surface kind of on my speed dial, so to speak. And so that's what I like to do is I'll use Fusion 360 to create some things. I'll reverse engineer stuff with Quick Surface. A lot of times I scan stuff with my ArtTech Eva and use ArtTech Studio to get that. We've got a bunch of scanners and such, but that's kind of my go-to tool to use. So, and then Ryan asked, has this been manufactured yet? Yes, it was manufactured, and we are hopefully fitting it this week. So this was the SpongeBob one that I put on LinkedIn just a few days ago. It really was amazing. So I'm excited to see the action of it. This is, again, it's a one-off. I'm very confident in it. But you have to nail the alignment on these things. So on the clinical side of things, this is a little bit of a risk for the clinician that took it, but it's a risk that a lot of times pays off. And if it doesn't work out, guess what? We can make an adjustment and reprint. At least we have the file, and we can get stuff going. And the other thing is, you can do alignment old school with this. So either adding some sort of pads, posting, whatever. If you need to get your alignment, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion right, you can do all that. So I think that is really neat. So it really is a dance between, hey, yes, we're 3D printing. Let's look ahead and where some of the problems may be. How can we get around those problems in the traditional sense, in the hands-on sense, once we have the device? And so that's something to think about for sure. All right. Well, we've been going for 40 minutes, pretty strong. If you have any questions, drop them in the link itself. We started off with full color. Actually, for the heck of it, for those that just popped in, I just saw a couple people pop in. So let's just take a look at some of the colors here. how you can color. So I'm going to just duplicate this, and we're going to color this thing just to show you how easy it is. So you come down here to your paint clay. Oh, I got to get out of this tool. S is your friend. S is your friend when it comes to heavy Massivit. Yeah, Massivit's not the right technology for O&P, but it's a very cool machine. Okay, so let's say I'm going to go into some pictures. Let me just see. I'll pull that off here. Let me see if I can find it. All right, so we're just going to open that. So here's what we have. So you've got a few options here. So you can tile, you can do a clip plane. So what I do is obviously this file, and your secret keywords are wallpaper, high definition, and whatever you're looking for. That's your secret keywords. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, and we're going to change this, let's just say, to 300. And then we'll come back here, say this, and there we go, and apply to paint. Okay, so there we go. We got the swirl. We got a swirl, and this one projects through, so it doesn't have a seam, which is very, very cool. So, but you can kind of see where it stretches here on the backside, but it doesn't look bad. So that's pretty neat. And then what you can do is you come in here. Let me look through these again. And we're just going to put on a, let's see here. I'm looking for the little tattoo thing. Here we go. Oops. Well, there's an idea on it. I'm not going to bore you anymore with the tattoo stuff, but needless to say, I can now put something else right on top of this, and it will go well. So that is how you color a prosthesis in Freeform. And I think that is it, guys. We've gone almost 45 minutes. I thank you guys for your time. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. And I think that's it. We're gonna yeah, man. Yeah, keep an eye out. 2024 is going to be amazing for Freeform. There's going to have some pretty neat options. Can't talk about it right now, but pretty neat options coming in that I believe, in the big scheme of things, is going to make things more affordable. But there's also going to be massive opportunity for designers as well. So I'm super stoked about that. So again, for those that are wondering, Advanced 3D, we're in North Carolina. We do sell Freeform. We do training. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Shoot me a direct message after the fact, as the chat in this is kind of weird sometimes. So I don't know what to say. So essentially, shoot me a DM, and then we can go from there. But hey, y'all, thanks for watching. Have a great Friday, and we'll talk to you again soon when we go live again.